Hey there, welcome to Tick and Grapevine, Refined Taste for Idiots. I'm Mase, and I'm solo today. Max is traveling this week. And in this episode, I wanted to talk about my experiences at the WindUp New York City show that happened this past weekend. And there are two main events in New York this weekend, Watch Time and WindUp. Watch Time is more for luxurious or high horology, and I would say that WindUp is more for smaller brands, micro brands, things on the more affordable side of the spectrum. So I decided to take my son to this event, and I made it kind of a boys' weekend. I took him to the city on Saturday night. We had steak dinner. I even took him to a jazz club, and that's a bit of a daunting task. He's 10 years old. And not sure how he would react to jazz, not sure how we react to going to a watch event. And I was worried that he wouldn't last more than half an hour at the WindUp. So I hatched this plan to kind of get him more excited about it. And so I let him wear this watch. It's a 1960s Zodiac Seawolf. It's got the shovel hands. It's got the gilt bezel, gilt hands. It's got a date window, and it's in pretty good condition. Usually you see these kind of watches where the gilt is kind of rubbed off. So when I presented that idea to him a couple days before the event, he got pretty excited, kind of like I was letting him into like a secret club. So, did that actually work? Did he let me stay for longer than half an hour? And we'll get to that in a little bit. So Sunday morning we queued up to the door at the Altman building where the WindUp was being held, and waited a few minutes, and then they let us in. And as soon as you get in the door, you'll notice that the Oris table is right in front of you, and Oris is one of the brands that had a New York edition that I wanted to check out. So went to the table, and really enthusiastic gentleman welcomed us, chatted about my son. My son was drawn to their special edition for the Riga fleet. I'll include a picture when I'm putting together this video. Really sharp, kind of in that, it has kind of that emergency call out feature. So that was really interesting. I asked if they had the New York edition. It's got a green mother of pearl dial. In the renderings and the photos online, looked really interesting. Kind of a shade of green that you don't typically see watch dials, or they have a rubber band that goes with it. And so I wanted to see it in person and see how it reflected the light, and they just didn't have it. They sold out of whatever they had. They even had a couple of them delivered from local ADs, and they sold those off. So there was no opportunity for me to check out that watch. Pretty cool. Oris is involved in a lot of conservation efforts, and this watch would support kind of the growth of 1 billion oysters in New York Harbor. And I would say that the color of the dial was a pretty generous green compared to the actual color of the water in the New York Harbor. But I did check out other mother of pearl dials that Oris had, and really, really interesting. Watch face reflected the light really well. Really interesting. Really impressed by what Oris had there. I also took a look at the bronze watch. About a year ago, I was looking at a lot of bronze watches and looking at how they patina over time. There's a whole legion of folks on Instagram that are sharing their patinaed bronze watches and how they can clean them up and how they kind of let them get really kind of funky with the patina. So it was really kind of interesting, and I was able to put on the bronze Oris Big Crown pilot, and that was a pretty cool watch. So it was about this time that we moved on from the Oris table and went to Zodiac's display. So we're pretty excited about checking out Zodiac for a couple of reasons. One, the son of Greybomb was wearing the vintage Zodiac, so we thought that might be of interest to them. Two, I want to check out their New York edition or their Seawolf that they were releasing during this event, and I also want to check out the Blueberry GMT. So first off, we got our hands on the Blueberry GMT. Really liked it. Fit well. Looked really nice. Kind of interesting bezel coloring. And then we took a look at the black ceramic edition that they were releasing for this event. Black ceramic, and the dial was kind of bluish black. You could really see the blue if you tilted it one way or the other on the against the lighting there. And I should say that the lighting at the event was super bright, and amateur photographers like myself and the son of Greybomb, you'll see that in the photos that we post in this video. So please be kind. After we checked out the GMT and the new ceramic bezel Seawolves, it was about this time that Mike Pearson, the Zodiac brand director, he had spied the watch on the son of Greybomb's wrist, and he came over and he bent over the table and was really super nice to my son. He was engaging him in conversation. He asked my son, "Hey, do you know anything about this watch? Do you know anything?" And my son was like, "Well, it's from the 60s. And Mike was just sharing with us the progression of the hands. So, early on, the hands on the Seawolf were more of the Dauphine hand. Then it went to the shovel hands, which were on this watch. And then they went to more baton style hands. So it was really interesting hearing from him. He took a picture of my son wearing it, and that went on Instagram. So my son was pretty happy that his arm at least was internet famous. So there was from that moment on, he was really super engaged, as he went around from table to table, trying on watches, wanting to take pictures. So just what a great experience for him as kind of a young enthusiast to check out the Zodiac table and get some attention, get his picture taken with the vintage watch on, and so just such a thrill for him. So it was really great. So once we left Zodiac, we started on our search for GMTs, and I had already mentioned the Blueberry GMT from Zodiac. The next watch we took a look at was the Manta SkyQuest. A nice looking watch, fit well on the wrist, had a Pepsi Pepsi bezel with the gold lettering. I don't know a ton about Manta. I know that they were established in 2015, 2016 by a couple of US guys. The GMT was about $2,200. So I feel like that's a lot to spend on a watch from a company that's I don't know a ton about. Been established only 6 or 7 years ago. So from there, really across the aisle was Jack Mason. So Jack Mason is also a US-based brand out of Texas. Actually, Mex asked that I take a look at their watches. He had received an email the night before my son and I went to the show. And so I obliged. I went over there, and they had 3 GMT watches. They had black and orange, they had a Pepsi, and they had sort of a root beer version. So I tried on the Pepsi. Look, it fit nice, had a Jubilee bracelet, and that came in at about $1,000. So once again, I don't know a whole lot about Jack Mason. I did take a look at their website, and their next, or the After the GMT, the next highest priced watch that they sell is about $400. So it seems like a really big step up from the 400 to the 1,000 for a brand that you don't know a whole lot about. So I probably wouldn't be in the market for that watch. But it did fit nicely. It looked sharp. But that's kind of where I stand right there on the Jack Mason. So the last of the goals that I wanted to accomplish was trying on watches that I researched over the last years, but just really haven't had the opportunity to get my hands on. Either they mostly sell through online outlets, or and they're not really carried in 80s close by. So this is my opportunity. So first is Oak and Oscar. It's a micro brand, and I had seen their Jackson model. It's limited edition. It's got this really the Jackson model is a chronograph. It has a really they've nailed it with this blue color that they have in a lot of their watches. And we stopped at the Nevada Gretchen display. There are a couple of models that I really like from Nevada Gretchen. The first one is more playful. It's the Depth Master Pac-Man. So I did put my hands on it, got it on my wrist. It's squarish. It's a little thick. It's pretty chunky, really chunky, and but it is such a cool looking, really kind of fun watch. Reminded me of the 80s video games, the arcade, the Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man. I had an Atari 2600 when I was a little kid and played a lot of Pac-Man growing up. From there, I tried the Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver. It's a beautiful watch. There's a lot going on in the dial. It's got sub-registers, and they have it in a variety of combinations. You can get broad arrow, you can get baton style, hands, different colors in the sub-dials. It's just really a sharp-looking watch, and really true to the original model that they sold. And really at around, the Pac-Man is around $1,000 if you get it on a bracelet. I think on the Tropic strap is about $850, and the Chronomaster comes in at around $1,850 to $2,000, depending on the strap or bracelet. I'm not sure if I would buy one new or if I would try to locate one, a vintage one, in good condition, because I think that could be really interesting piece to show a little wear and tear on it. The ones that I've seen in the past, the bezel is really kind of really shot, just kind of shredded up, and so a lot of the models that I saw have this kind of shredded up bezel, and I think some of it is misleading because I think the numerals come really close to the edge of the bezel, and I think some of that is the way it was made, and some of it is just wear and tear, so kind of the edges of the bezel really look like they got shredded. So from there we went to the Baltic display, and this is a brand that I really like their aesthetic. Glad that they participated in WindUp. And we also checked out a brand almost by accident, Abingdon.
I can't do nothing with you.
So what did I miss? So what are my regrets from the show? So there are a couple, and the first is that I really wanted to check out Brew watches. I think they have a cool aesthetic, funky dials, and I think I passed by them, and my son had his focus on a different table, and I must have lost sight of them along the way. So I really bummed I missed that one, because that was something I really wanted to check out. The second, check out the Baltic GMT. That was a miss on my part. It was something that I had looked at online. We had kind of gone by the G-Shock table, and they were doing this sort of drop test, this pressurized drop test to show how durable the G-Shock is. And I just, we passed by it. We asked about what time they were going to do the demonstration, and they said 1:15. And we ended up staying past that, but I missed the demonstration. I just lost sight of it. So another regret of mine. So I wanted to talk about the son of Grey Bomb and his experiences at the show. Really started off, he got attention really just about anywhere around the show. People were kind of amazed that a 10-year-old was wearing this kind of watch. People were commenting, good for you for getting him started early, getting this appreciation early. We had spent some time over at the Benrus table, and I was talking to one gentleman about the Bullet watch, the homage to the watch that Steve McQueen wore during the movie Bullet. And the other gentleman working the table gave my son a little compass to him to slide on the band of his watch, and that was really cool for him. The next table over was Wind Vintage. Charlie, who works with Eric Wind, really was excited about seeing the Zodiac on my son's wrist. Super excited, took a photo of the watch, and who knows, maybe that'll pop up on Instagram at some point or somewhere else. He got into it. He was excited. I was worried about kind of getting there and spending half an hour, and then that would be the time limit that the son of Grey Bomb would allow me. But we stayed for about an hour and 40 minutes, which it was way more time than I could have expected. If he wants, I might try to do a little segment with my son, the son of Grey Bomb, and see if he'll give his experiences, what he liked the best from the show. I think that would be pretty cool. So I really enjoyed my time at the WindUp. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Take care.